So today we are going to be talking about Magic the Gathering, specifically the Magic the Gathering The Walking Dead Secret Lair drop, or as everyone in the Magic community is calling it, fucking bullshit. So Wizards of the Coast, who make Magic, made these 5 cards that have the Walking Dead characters, and they're selling them directly to fans. Well, players. Well, consumers. We can call them consumers. And they're actually going to be allowed, these cards, they're going to be allowed in certain formats. This has been a very bad decision and made many people upset. But why? It's Rick Grimes and Negan. How could Rick Grimes and Negan... You know what, I guess we'll just have to get into it. I am Ben Velding. This is Morning Perfect Base. I am going to work on my perfect base in Minecraft every so often. And after a while, we're going to talk about how much progress I've made. Today, I am going to be working on my armory. Now, you can see that I haven't touched it since I hollowed it out this hill. What we are going to do is we are going to cut out the walls and replace them with red glass and dark oak braces. Why red glass and dark oak braces? I think it's just an armory theme, general masculine shit. Red for the blood that's not in this game. Dark wood for the darkness of our hearts that are in this game but are red. So, The Walking Dead Secret Lair drop. Well, what's a Secret Lair drop? It's Wizards of the Coast, and I might call them WotC while I'm doing this. Wizards of the Coast, I'll call them wizards sometimes. Anyway, they usually sell Magic cards in randomized packs of cards. Players open the $5 or $4 packs, 15 cards each, and they feel good or bad depending on what's inside of them. And this is not gambling, because the cards have no monetary value beyond the uniform, like 33 cents a card or whatever for the pack, right? Also, local game stores, they buy boxes of packs and they open them by the score, and they pull out the valuable cards to sell individually for their monetary value. This selling of individual cards by local game stores for more than 33 cents each is called the secondary market. And if Wizards acknowledged it, they would have to acknowledge they are selling loot boxes to the 12 part of their 12 and up demographic. I also want to apologize here. I usually do some pre-cutting, so I don't have to do all this counting while I'm on screen. So if I lag a little bit, it's because I'm trying to count blocks that I should have dropped. Damn. I should have dropped some torches on it or something. I wonder if I can ring those catwalks up there with slime on the bottom level so I can jump down there, no problem. It'll look like ass. It'll look like complete ass, but it'll be functional. God knows I've got the slime for it. Right, so the Secret Lair drop is the process whereby Magic the Gathering sells old cards with new art for tens of dollars per card, directly and without any middlemen. It's cardboard with professionally commissioned art, but it's cardboard that Wizards is acknowledging has a worth of much, much more than 33 cents. But Secret Lair drops are reprints. So functionally, the cards are just like other cards that have been printed 5 or 3 or maybe just one time in Magic's history, so you don't need to have the Secret Lair to have the card. The ostensible value of a Secret Lair is in the art. And I'd like to reiterate, the Secret Lair drop product line and the phrase the Secret Lair drop product line is definitely one of the reasons I stopped playing Magic, but I'll get into that. It is a veil-thin art appreciation course away from revealing the gambling nature of Magic the Gathering's business model. But it's okay, because they're actually printing cards that maybe are already available elsewhere or maybe need to be reprinted because they were only printed once before. That is fair. But the Walking Dead Secret Lair drop has original cards available nowhere else, which are also playable in Magic games, which they've never been sold in packs for 33 cents a card or whatever. Magic has done this before. They did crossover with Hasbro Intellectual Properties, Transformers, My Little Pony, and even D&D. I don't even know why that Iron Golem is up there. I don't know how he got up there. I don't know how he escaped. It's obviously a design problem, but it is not one that I want to deal with right now. I'm just going to sleep and then deal with it never. In fact, they're going to do another D&D thing here in 2021. They also did some Godzilla promos, so why is The Walking Dead different? You see, the previous crossovers were silver bordered. Sometimes Magic makes cards for fun. Super casual play cards. These cards are silver bordered and they're not meant to be for serious games. You play them, you have fun with friends, and maybe Alexander Clamilton kills a Knight of the Hokey Pokey or, whatever. It's fun. So who cares if Optimus Prime and Rainbow Dash are there? If anything, they're a little more fun. The exception is the Godzilla cards, which were not silver bordered, but were just regular Magic cards with new art and a fun name pasted prominently above the card's real name. It's a great promo that I didn't love, but which was fine and which fit thematically with a Magic story about a plane filled with giant fucking monsters. But The Walking Dead isn't any of that shit. They're just dirty, sweaty rednecks killing science zombies with guns and shit. I mean, guns and katanas and crossbows and baseball bats, and I guess killing each other too, which makes it a hard lore fit and also a bad fit age-wise with Magic's demo. And look, Bolas is a giant evil Magic dragon asshole, and he erases minds and he collapses civilizations, but there is a difference between cinematic, big picture carnage and, Negan raping someone or a graphic beating of someone's head in. Yeah, we know a lot of rubble that Bolas kicked up crushed a lot of people's heads when Bolas blew up the Ravnican Parliament or whatever. I'll just take a moment here to bask in your envy of me having never read the War of the Spark novels. So we know Bolas did shit that was fucked up, and we know the fucked up Walking Dead things have happened implicitly in Magic's lore. But because of the tone of the Magic lore, we didn't focus on them. And that is a much broader discussion of how fiction glosses over implied horrors and enables us to do the same with real-life things like war, especially when an event is called something like War of the Spark or Infinity War. Like, it's going to be a fun adventure and not a harrowing failure of civilizations who should be motivated to find peace at all times. But given that we're not bitching about how a kids show turning the human population into apes or whatever doesn't result in thousands of bot surgeries and crashed airplanes, we accept that tonal differences exist, and The Walking Dead has a different, more mature, more grotesque tone than Magic the Gathering. Also, I just don't want to sit down and play against Daryl, Redneck King, or whatever because it ruins my immersion a little bit. I know a lot of people love having artists replace art of Jace with Stone Cold Steve Austin or whatever in their altars, and while I think a lot of the altars are clever and require skill, I don't particularly like playing against those either, honestly. Oh, here's another issue. In Magic, some cards are on a reserved list that can't/won't be reprinted because of the intellectual properties, how do I describe this? Commitment to this game being a collectible card game, whereas I like to purchase cards without having to deal with a bunch of off-Wall Street brokers. Cards that aren't reprinted, especially if they're good cards, trend up in price, making them harder to get. The Walking Dead cards are not reskinned Magic cards like Godzilla, so they can't be replaced except with another Walking Dead crossover, which requires a licensing agreement and cross-corporate bullshit pollination stuff. It's going to be hard to reprint them, much harder than any other card in Magic. And I don't say this lightly. There's already a deck winning tournaments with the Rick card, so he's a good card, and Wizards won't be able to reprint him without making him an identical card with a different name, giving folks with Rick twice as many Ricks. Look, please realize the gravity whenever I say this, but The Walking Dead Secret Lair Drop is the Star Trek Picard of Magic the Gathering products. It would take entirely too long to give you every reason it sucks, and I can make a convincing list out of abbreviated points without even pulling from the top fucking shelf. Picard has planetary shields, and that isn't even in the top 3 most fucked up things, top 10 fucked up things about the series. So, have I mentioned that the Secret Lair Drops are only available in the United States? So, if you're not in the US, fuck you. Fuck international players, I guess. You don't even get that shit. Have I mentioned that they already promised not to print cards which could only be purchased by paying a lot of money for just those cards? They did that, like right before this. They're like, nah, we aren't going to print individual cards that you buy directly for large prices. And I'm assured that there is some technical difference between that promise and the Walking Dead lair thing, secret whatever. But like, I don't see it. I don't feel it. I feel like they said they wouldn't do it and they did it. I promise the only thing they haven't done is killed off a member of the development team only to pointlessly bring them back as a robot. So look, I threw in the towel with Magic in 2018 with War of the Spark. And, is 2018 not the year that War of the Spark came out? I don't fucking care. I quit buying this shit. If you want more detail, look up the Project 1919 video. It's going to be on my channel. I am not going to link it below because you're not going to fucking watch it. When the Walking Dead secret lair drop was revealed, the community response was negative. I mean, even for Magic, it was pretty fucking negative. Like, everyone who is part of the Magic the Gathering community criticized the decision in inverse proportion to how reliant they were on Wizards of the Coast for their income. But it was obvious, despite all of the "we hear you" bullshit, that Wizards, and as an aside, I do not doubt that lead developer and IP frontman Mark Rosewater is a good guy, but the bad decisions that are being made are over his head. So he can listen till his ears fall the fuck off, and maybe even, who knows, I don't and possibly couldn't care, agree. It doesn't matter because it's over his head. Wizards is not going to change course on this, despite... I'll get to it. So then the community, and I shouldn't say community, I should say customer base. The customer base of Magic the Gathering then turned to demand that the Commander Rules Committee ban the cards printed in the Walking Dead secret lair drop. There is no analogy for this. I won't explain Commander or the Commander Rules Committee to you. I guess if you wanted arena football to ban Ray Rice from their league when the NFL merely suspended him for assaulting his fiancée in an elevator back in 2014, then it would be something like that. But when someone only tangentially related to The Walking Dead was expected to be on board and engage in a futile banning in lieu of actual action by the consumers of Magic the Gathering, as a little ridiculous. So, they were demanding the Commander Rules Committee ban these cards and agree with them or else be branded class traders. And Magic the Gathering idiots and consumers by nature do not have a class consciousness to understand what a class trader is. But then, hey, neither do fucking I. As a gay dude, I know the ancient dance of "we don't think you should exist, so let's throw every obstacle in the way of your existence until you give up." I know that fucking strategy. And it is just as pathetic and ineffective when used by Magic consumers as it is by bigots with small businesses. It's actually the bigots with small businesses are probably a little more effective at it. The obstruction strategy is bad. A boycott is a waste of time because secret lair drops always make bank. Crashing Twitch streams is a waste because it looks identical to online harassment. The outrage against the Commander Rules Committee was irrational, but it existed because Magic consumers are too stupid to take actual, effective, collective action. Mostly. I'll get to the mostly in a minute. First, have a movement, guys. Set a reasonable demand and weave that into a name, hashtag, slogans, etc. 2. Build that brand. Establish what you will not do in order to maintain respectability and to respect Wizards of the Coast staff. 3. Because everyone will bail at this point because you've only told them what you're not going to do, establish what you will do. Strategies to achieve your long-term goals and tactics for short-term goals. Short-term goals, hey look, I don't know, co-op and police the people who agree with you. This makes you the establishment organization for change. Call out the people who are doing what's not allowed under Part 2. Then you need to plan and re-establish language to sway others to your side, or at the very least, to neutrality. Not they're killing Magic, but it undermines Magic's unique lore and flavor. Never lead with the concession, but be ready with it. The first action would be to ban the Walking Dead cards, though, based on the principles you've set up already. The long-term plan is to keep playing Magic and ensure your cards are still valid game pieces in a few years. Create a format curated with like-minded people through communications and shared experience that people will enjoy playing. Engage in that community long-term. Like, it's utopian, but it's a reminder that even when you get to utopia, it's not something you have and put on a shelf. It's part... Yeah, nailed it. Fuck yes. Okay. No fall damage. Where the fuck was I? It is a part of your life that needs to be constantly nurtured and maintained. So, in all of this, along comes some fucking YouTuber, and they unseriously suggest the idea of a captain format. A format which is exactly like Commander, but bans the Walking Dead cards. That YouTuber then created a Discord and a subreddit so that people who are interested in this joke, and we are assured it's a joke, could work together to make this format happen. As a joke? Both of these were unmoderated and apparently became overrun with Nazis or 12-year-olds who thought it was funny to be Nazis. They're basically just Nazis. I never saw the Nazis. I joined after they had actually created a moderation team for a publicly accessible internet space, like any reasonable person with a functioning brain would. Right. So whenever I joined, it was a bunch of douchebags and then some nerds trying to create a constitution. The YouTuber who brought the format up, having addressed the Nazi issues, then deleted the Reddit and the Discord because of the Nazi issues, which... Yeah, me too. This forced the people who've been working pretty hard on making the format start from scratch. And they did, the fucking heroes, with a fraction of the people who were originally invested. Given everything else, it is insane that I wound up working with the Captain format to create a community-controlled format for Magic the Gathering. One with no entrenched leadership and a completely transparent decision-making process. That mechanism, 7 days later, is still up for debate. As far as I know, there is still no secure voting mechanism in place, but only a series of pictures and a direct democracy who votes to create changes to the format, the very loose hand on the reins. I was a fan personally of the Republic system, which was suggested earlier, in which elected representatives would shape and present ideas initially put forward by the community. Look, if it wasn't for the voting integrity issue, I'd be for the direct democracy voting thing. I believe in elected individuals having a hand on the reins. The countervailing argument was that sometimes individuals are corrupt, a belief which is somehow not applied to the populace at large. I guess the assumption being that voters at large will be concerned with the long-term health of the game over short-term satisfaction, but elected representatives would not be. I feel that's an unfounded assumption. But then there's a lot to discuss. Promotion, how to get word out when the guy who thought up the format burned it, countering the perception that Captain is dead on arrival, that it is full of Nazis, that it is an unoriginal format created out of spite and contains the worst members of a community which is pretty fucking petty and spiteful. You may have noticed the Captain team doing more on social media this past week to combat those preconceptions in the Magic the Gathering community at large. And if you have, send me a link because I need a good surprise after a solid week of being right all the fucking time. So I was doing this for a little bit, and honestly, I didn't even think they were listening to me, which is fine. That's fine, because democracy isn't about feeling listened to. That might be jarring for a community that usually gets a corporate mandated rub and tug of, we hear you, even if they know it's not true love. I mean, as long as the money keeps coming in, it does not matter. Wizards of the Coast was commissioned by parent company Hasbro to double profits over this 5-year period. Not double profit growth versus the previous 5 years. Not get double-digit profit growth. Make twice as much profit. So as long as they're on track for that, and our alarm is alarmism, and hey, Magic has had a lot of that. Enough alarm that it doesn't even listen to the alarms anymore. So, safe. Look, whether Captain becomes a thing or not, it's worth it to talk with folks, chew over ideas, debate, find pinch points, twist arms to make people discuss points of contention. So long as the process is observed, we should all enjoy the democratic process. I mean, as Americans, those of us who are Americans, that should be our jam. We should love that shit. That should just be a part of the culture. And as I say that, I realize most Magic the Gathering players just want to buy their shiny cards and let them win more because they need that validation, I guess. You can boil the game pretty slowly, and when it gets too warm, those guys, they're just going to leave. I mean, who cares? They'll just play Warhammer. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, right. I filled this place in to even it up. So there are little trenches running through it that were kind of like, I didn't want to fill up every block, so I just... Okay, well, I'll deal with that, I guess. That might make this easier, actually. But whatever, they'll play COD Blops or Among Us or whatever the flavor of the week is instead. Those guys are going to pump money into it, and then eventually they're going to leave when it's not fun anymore. Look, I admire Magic the Gathering for staying agile. Trying to bring in fans of The Walking Dead when the franchise is in its after-MASH phase seems poorly considered, especially when The Walking Dead product isn't available in stores, isn't a standalone product, isn't on theme with Magic, and isn't a Magic beginner-level difficulty product. So, I appreciate that there was an attempt. So, like, given a choice between throwing in with Captain, the format that love forgot, or just accepting that Magic was always an economic exercise first and a game lore visual design thing second, Magic consumers absolutely will fall back on cynicism and choose the latter. And as an epilogue, that organizing document for Captain, when I first joined, it was 1 1/4 pages. Slick, accessible, clean, good. It has, however, ballooned into an 8-page document which I have not read because why the fuck would I? But it no doubt includes rules for removing elected administrators who do not even vote. Or maybe they do vote now. I don't know anymore. One thing that has stood out to me about the process is the risk averseness of so many participants. They want the thing to be perfect. In my view, being perfectly aware of the painful flood of nerds on the internet who believed that people would like to hear their view on every issue related to Captain, most of the issues regarding how they would fix Commander if they could fix Commander, with ideas that do not tell us how to fix Commander so much as they tell us how ill-equipped the average Magic player is to fix Commander. Realizing I am pissing into a bucket of urine, my view is that you would create something to capitalize on Captain's brief fading moment and quickly turn over control of the format to the public via some integral voting process, and then just wash your hands of it. What's become very clear isn't that there are 2 tiers of people, but that there are people who are clearly capable of putting in more work, and which form a class of decision makers who are reluctant to make executive decisions, and also reluctant to turn over control to the public. It is a frustrating amount of analysis paralysis to watch, and because I am not of the class of people who have the time to put into the work, or I should say who do not prioritize the work highly enough to have put in the time, yes, highly, not high-lay, Jesus Christ, Google voice to text. Because I'm not putting in the work, I don't really get a say in that. I mean, fuck me. I hope it works out. I won't write an epitaph for Captain just yet. I never know. I am sometimes wrong about things. I think that things will fail, but I'm willing to let them succeed because I want them to succeed. That's not crazy insane. What is the least surprising about all of this is the number of Magic consumers who see others who do want to build something, and they decide that that work is a waste because it will never succeed, and therefore they will work to shit on that thing to make sure it never succeeds. It seems like if you thought it was doomed, you would just let it fail. They're textbook cases of people who are trapped by their own cynicism, like who are paralyzed by their belief that nothing worth failing at is worth doing. And they're outraged at seeing other people try and fail without dying or suffering. I've seen people who are simply not afraid to maybe fuck up, despite everything I've said about the people making Captain being afraid to fuck up. But for the critics, they see people who are not afraid to fuck up in the big picture, and it drives them mad. There's no other description for people who would spend exactly as much time as the people making this format, trying to tear it down and disrupting and going into the Discord and the Reddit and causing problems and starting shit and trying to sabotage it wherever they can. I have said it before and I will say it again. People control anywhere on the internet, but where they choose to do so is deeply indicative of their character and their actual concern. Their real... Oh, damn it. Fuck. Silk touch... Fuck me. Silk touch pickaxe. That's the shit they care about. They're trolling the spaces they're trolling because they care about it deeply. More than any of the people they're trying to fuck with. What they can't do is they can't commit to that. They can't try anything hard enough to let themselves fail. They're trolls. What do you want from me? It's always amazing, but never surprising, the amount of work that people who will deliberately sabotage things which thrive in defiance of their ideology, in order to claim their ideology is correct. I often say that a prophet can't go wrong predicting disaster, but I'll amend to that. People who believe the world is full of assholes can always fulfill that belief themselves. This makes them the greatest scum on earth. Anyway, I hope I've pissed off everyone. I hope the complacent and open-mouthed average magic consumer, the person who wanted me to finish that sentence without fucking it up, the useless WotC workers who are watching their game be destroyed for an increasing profit margin and their boss's bonus, the quixotic yet clay-footed captain developers, the deadweight captain follower who thinks good things will happen because they're in the right, the cynical waste of that potential most quintessential to humanity, of active captain critics and saboteurs. And if I didn't insult you, comment below and I will call you a fuckface in the comments. I'm going to finish this up a little later. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep making good art.